Alright guys, just a quick update on the progress here. I got the isolation mounts installed. This is going to work. So I started adding in the distribution blocks for the power. Right now I'm planning to have 3 outlets, one on the driver's side, one on the passenger side, and one up by the inverter that's already installed, just waiting for the wire. And with AC power, you need a line, a neutral, and a ground, and this will all be connected to the inverter. Especially the grounds for the outlets. It has some sort of protection features, so I don't want to tie this to the chassis ground. There's a ground connection at the inverter for the chassis ground. So yeah, next step is yeah, I think I'm gonna run the wire and then cut the holes for the outlets in the sides of the camper. Doesn't really matter which I do first, but there you go. Be back when there's more. Alright, what I'm doing is making the wires. They're going to go from the inverter to the distribution blocks. And then this is going to be going to either line or neutral. I think ground has a smaller stud, so. And just using marine grade 12 gauge. You could probably use 14 gauge for this. Given that it's a 2000 watt inverter, I think it's rated for 17 amps. So I always like to start the terminal inside the crimper. That way I don't need 3 hands. And you want that kind of flush with the opening of the barrel. You don't want it hanging out too far. And there you go. So I need to make one more of those. All right. All right. Now I need to go figure out this this other post. Slightly different size. All right. Got it. Gonna be a tough one, isn't it? Alright. Alright guys, next thing I'm going to do is install the outlet that's going to be above the inverter, and so this side with the bigger prong is neutral, the smaller side is hot, and then this right here is ground. And yes, you can get these ground screws out. They must like crimp this somehow after they insert the screw, because they're really hard to get out on purpose. But the reason I did that is so that I can put a terminal and get the ground connection. You'll never wrap a stranded wire around this and get it to stay put. So your options are do a terminal or do a solid copper wire like you're wiring a house, and then connect the solid wire with the stranded wire using a wire nut, and you can do that. The stranded wire needs to be, I don't know, 1/8 inch, 3/16 longer than the solid wire. You want to make sure it's sticking up above the solid wire, then you can do the wire nut or like a Wago connector. But I'm going to use a terminal, and I might have to, I'm not sure you can see this tab, I might have to bend that tab over because I want the this might not work with the space in the box, so I might want to bring it more like that and then bend this over a little bit. But the nice thing is, on all these modern receptacles, they've got these kind of, you don't have to wrap the wire around the screw anymore. They've got these clamps. You insert the wire in there, and as you tighten the screw, it clamps the wire, and I think that's just as good as wrapping the wire around the screw, and it doesn't damage the wire when you do it. So you can, if you need to change the outlet, you're not having to deal with a boogered up wire. So, all right, so I'm going to start getting this all inserted. Oh, on the back of outlets, they usually have a strip gauge that tells you how much insulation to strip off, so you get the proper depth on these terminals. So right about there. All right. And before I forget, what I'm going to do is mark which one's hot, so I don't have to try to figure that out after it's installed. Yeah, so that's kind of how I'm going to have it lay. But before I do that, I'm going to tighten these other two terminals up. The reason I'm not doing a daisy chain, which is what the second terminal allows you to do, is because the other two outlets, the ones that are going to poke out the sides, aren't set up that way. They just have a single terminal per pole. So I just decided to do the distribution blocks and not worry about daisy chaining. So alright, I think that'll work.